You and I both know that we love geeking about our camera gear, and the Canon R5 Mark II is going to be one of the most anticipated camera releases of 2024. I feel like it's going to happen. I know that Canon Rumors is making a lot of splash about the specs and getting data on when it's going to be released. Let's just be honest, we can look back at Black Friday. Canon R5, they were highly discounted. That's kind of a signal of, hey, there's going to be something new coming out. Something new is coming out. You got to discount the old one to get rid of inventory. But if you also look at eBay, there are huge amounts of people getting rid of their R5. If you guys are new to the mirrorless world or you're looking at a used R5, it might be a good time to pick one up. With discounts at the retail level, refurbished levels are ridiculous. I mean, I saw the R5 Mark II for $21.99 refurbished on like Black Friday. I still think even today in 2024, like it is a fantastic, ridiculously capable camera. Now, I'm a hybrid shooter. I use features on both sides, and I really appreciate what Canon did with this camera. Canon has done a superb job by listening to R5 users, and they've released a lot of firmwares to make this camera truly capable. I mean, the overheating issue, that's like the big splash when it came out. It's kind of solved. Doesn't overheat with the high temperature mode. The camera shoots superb stills. Autofocus is amazing. Everything about the camera is awesome. With that said, there's a lot of things that as I use the camera over time, I wish there were certain improvements on. According to Canon Rumors, this camera is already out in the wild. The pre-production model is out with a bunch of photographers, influencers, and whatnot. And it's already being tested out in the wild. So whatever I say in this video is really just a wish list and in hopes of having these features added to the camera. But hey, hear me out. There's nothing wrong with having a wish list idea of how to improve the camera or its functions and just make it a better camera. Before we get into the video, let's just talk about the R5, the original OG of the camera. Now, the R5 checked off so many boxes for so many photographers. 45 megapixels, 8K, I mean, I don't really use 4K 120, 4K 60, 4K 24 HQ. Thank you. Autofocus is on point, 45 megapixel resolution. As far as like the camera itself specs wise, it's incredible. Ergonomics, it's not something that's talked about a lot, but the ergonomics of Canon's cameras is dialed in. Like it's perfect. I love everything about the camera. Now I've made videos in the past about the R5 and it still stands true today. This camera is a beast of a hybrid camera. I hope that Canon doesn't change the layout of this camera. If the button layouts, the switches, the on-off photo video switch changes location, I feel like that's going to be a turnoff for a lot of photographers and videographers that use two cameras in any given scenario. Just things have to be in place. When it comes to using the LCD, it's not like flat. And what I mean by that is if you look at the camera like this from top down, it's not like flush. For some reason, I don't know if it's just me, but I can't get my verticals and horizontals straight easily. I'll do it eventually, but it just takes a little bit more tweaking. And it's because I know that the camera's level, but my LCD is kind of angled a little bit. I have issues with that. Probably a minor thing. You guys might not have that issue, but I certainly have that issue. So Canon Rumors has it that the R5 Mark II is going to have 60 megapixel sensor. I think the R5 with its 45 megapixel sensor is fully capable for so many types of photography, whether you're shooting wildlife, you're doing massive blow-up commercial work, weddings, landscapes. I feel like 45 megapixels is more than enough for most of my work. Sometimes maybe it could use a little bump in megapixels, maybe a 50, but going up to 60 I feel like is going to take a hit on its ISO performance. We all know that the higher megapixel the sensor, the more noise is introduced. Speaking of sensors and performance and megapixels, I think the best thing that the R5 could really use is a little bit of an improvement on the dynamic range. Now I have shot with my friend's Sony FX3 and right off the bat I was like, wow, I see that sky. I see all the detail. I feel like I can't get that in the R5, and I truly wish the R5 sensor, the dynamic range kind of be improved upon. It's highly noticeable in video. For stills, I think it's okay, but I feel like it could be better. I don't think this is talked about a lot about the Canon R5 Mark II, but I hope that it has dual CFX CF Express B slots. That would be incredible because right now the R5 has a CF Express slot as well as an SD slot. For video purposes, you can't dual write on both cards. Up to 4K 60, it has to be IPB. Anything higher than that, if you're recording all-I, 8K, 4K 120, you can't dual record, and I feel like that's a little bit of a bummer. Hopefully the Mark II will have that. I think it should be a good step. I don't think I necessarily need more than 4K 120, but if it did improve upon 4K 240 and 8K 60, that would be amazing. I don't necessarily, me personally, use 8K all that much, but 4K 120 for photo purposes, I think resolution's incredible. You know, if it can shoot even better high ISO, that would be amazing. I've shot weddings at 12,800, perfectly fine. The autofocus performance on this camera is great. Honestly, if you've come from the DSLR world, you had to actually work to get and lock in focus. Now I know that the Mark II version that we're hoping to get this year is gonna have improvements. It's probably gonna take the autofocus system from the R3. I personally haven't really had any issues with autofocus performance. So the next couple of quirks about this camera that I hope to see improvements are video based. The record limit. Now, the R6 Mark II, that has been removed. There's no more record limit. Now, I personally shoot short form videos, so I don't really necessarily have that issue most of the time, but there are some times I kind of worry about that 30-minute record limit for wedding ceremonies, especially church ceremonies where that safety camera just kind of needs to run. If that's removed in the R5, I think it's beneficial to everyone. I mean, it's 2024. I don't think any camera should have a record limit. The next thing I think that needs to be improved on, I mean, not improved on, it just needs to be fixed, Canon, please. If you're watching this video, the IBIS wobble that occurs with wide-angle lenses. I don't think any other camera has that issue except Canon cameras. R5 Mark II, that's got to go away. One thing I would love to see implemented in the Canon R5 Mark II is to be able to punch into the footage while it's being recorded. And I think it's essential just to check focus. Can't do that on Canon cameras. I don't know why. Things happen spontaneously. You need to capture it and you got to kind of check that focus. I will love to rely on the autofocus and it's done a great job. I should be able to just periodically check focus by punching in. Come on, it's a hybrid camera. This video was really just kind of a wish list and a hopeful wish list that the Canon R5 Mark II will have these upgrades. What are you guys looking forward to from this camera? Let me know in the comment down below. Maybe it's something that I missed. It'd be kind of cool to connect with you guys, other R5 users. With that said, I'll see you guys in the next video.